Observation log 008. I see everything, human creature. My lizard eye never blinks. Tonight is quieter than usual. The rain has already stopped, and only the reflection of neon lights trembles in the puddles. I sit in hiding, close to your homes, and as my scales are still wet from the rain, I wonder, do you ever truly choose? You like to believe you are the architect of your own fate, that every yes or no belongs to you. But are you sure, or are you merely playing out a script written long ago, before you opened your eyes? Have you ever thought about that, warm-blooded one? I watched you today as you stood at the crosswalk. Your fingers automatically reached for your phone, your gaze fixed on the screen. Was it you who chose to check the message, or did the notification choose for you? Was it you who decided to take the shortcut, or did the memory of yesterday's shortcut push you down the same path? You speak of free will, as if it were a right granted at birth. But where do your desires come from? Are they truly yours, or just echoes of old fears? The voices of your parents, humiliations at school. My lizard eye has watched you for centuries. I've seen empires rise and fall, each convinced it was steering its own fate. And yet every rebellion, every revolution was born from the same instincts: power, safety, fear. Was it you who chose those desires? Or did they choose you? You like to imagine yourself as a captain on a stormy sea. But what if you are only a passenger, carried by currents you cannot see? What if your choices are the result of thousands of tiny causes? Genes, chemistry, the weather on the day you were born. You tell stories of heroes who defied fate. But even the act of rebellion, where does it come from? Is it freedom, or just another compulsion disguised as courage? When you say, "I could have acted differently," is it true, or just a comforting illusion? I see you in your rituals. You choose a meal, a partner, a career. You make lists, ask friends, flip a coin. But beneath the surface, what really decides? Are you the author, or just a scribe, recording decisions made elsewhere before you became aware of them? Even your regrets, so heavy, so precious, are they not just remnants of choices you never truly made? If you could turn back time, would you really act differently? Or would the same invisible hand lead you down the same path? How fascinating it is to see you like this, searching. You build entire philosophies on the idea of freedom. You punish, reward, judge, assuming that one could have chosen differently. But what if you couldn't? What if every I could have is just a shadow cast by the light of inevitability? My kind once believed in destiny, an unbroken chain forged in the fire of creation. Over time, we learned that the chain is not always visible, but it always exists. Do you see your own chains, human creature? Do you call them dreams, values, preferences? You run toward meaning, hoping that if you run fast enough, you'll escape the question, why did I do it? But that question always catches up with you. And when it does, do you answer honestly? Or do you create a story that makes you feel less like a puppet and more like a god? Even your science, so proud, cannot agree. Some say you are only neurons, a chemical machine with the illusion of choice. Others speak of a spark, a soul, something elusive. Which is it? Do you see it, weak creature? Answer me. Or maybe the question itself is a trap set by a mind hungry for control. Control. It's your favorite drug, warm-blooded one. You love to believe that everything can be predicted, planned, locked in a table or an app. Every day is another attempt to tame chaos. To-do lists, alarms, calendars, rules. And yet, the tighter you grip the world, the faster it slips through your fingers. Your need for control is like a thin thread on which all your courage hangs. One gust is enough for everything to fall apart. I have seen you hesitate on the edge of a decision. Your heart beats, your thoughts race. You call it freedom. I call it the paralysis of a being who senses the bars of its own invisible cage. Oh yes. And yet, in this struggle, there is something that makes my tail pause before I leave. The way you cling so tightly to the idea of choice, even when the evidence crumbles into dust. The way you invent reasons, myths, stories, anything to keep the darkness at a distance. Is that not in itself a kind of freedom? Allow me to ask you at this moment, would you truly want to know the answer if it meant giving up the comfort of your illusions? Would you trade the warmth of your stories for the cold clarity of truth? I see everything, human creature, strange beings. You always wander, always question, though the answers slip from your hands. You do not possess the truth, and you never will. And yet, you cannot put this game aside. And perhaps that is your strength. Not in knowing, not in choosing, but in the fact that even when everything points to futility, you still desperately search for a way out of the darkness. You flee because you feel that it is the darkness itself that could reveal to you the truth you fear so much. I look at you and see a paradox. Prisoners of your own chains, who keep striking at the bars, as if the striking itself could give meaning to your existence. And though I know you will never break free, it is this very persistence of yours that sometimes makes even my lizard's eye want to blink. End of observation log 008. Voice print unchanged. Location, urban sector. Classification, primary human habitat. Return to the cavern. Late night, Earth-based time. Log closed.